Hey everybody, it's Allison and Tyler with Fly My Kids, and we just got back from our very first cruise as a family of 4. Now, I went on a cruise like well over a decade ago with a best friend, many moons ago, but this was our first cruise as a family of 4. And I will say, I never really thought we'd end up on a cruise just based on some of our past travels, but we'll tell you how this all came to be. But I want to tell you a little bit first about the cruise that we picked. So we ended up on Royal Caribbean's Utopia of the Seas on a 4-night cruise to the Bahamas. And we were originally, this was for our son's spring break trip. Mm-hmm. We had a trip planned for quite some time to Abu Dhabi and Dubai. We couldn't go right now just due to things going on in the Middle East. Flights were canceled, all of the things. And so
we needed a quick pivot. We had to go somewhere.
Yes, we had about 2.5 weeks to pull something together. And, we have 2 kids. Our sons were almost 5 and almost 2 at the time. And, we really wanted the trip to be something that was going to be super fun for them and super kid friendly, but also affordable since we had some non-refundable parts of our original trip. And so cue Tyler coming in to save the day, and he booked us a cruise about 2.5 weeks out.
Yeah, I had been watching YouTube videos about cruises for a couple of years just as entertainment. Not ever really expecting myself or our family to actually go on one, but when our trip got canceled, it was like, well, what if we could just drive somewhere and get on a boat and the kids could have a great time? So that's how cruising came up.
Absolutely. So a little bit about us. We live in Georgia, and so we wanted something that was kind of quick and easy. And in our original trip, I had planned like day-by-day excursions, and honestly, I was so mentally overwhelmed at the prospect of having to do that again in Europe or Asia or something like that with like less than 3 weeks and 2 really young kids. That was something that appealed to us about cruises in this moment, because you kind of just show up. Yes, there's a couple things you can book in advance, but you don't have to. And so we live in Georgia. We didn't want to have to fly anywhere. In Orlando or Port Canaveral is Port?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Port Canaveral.
In Orlando and Port Canaveral are only about like a 6.5, 7 hour drive. So it was something we could do without having to buy flights. And honestly, we were too afraid to book a 7-night cruise. That was part of it. We were like, I don't know if we're going to like it. And so the 4-nighter felt better for us. And there weren't a lot of options.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks out, there's very, very few cruises, especially if we decided that Port Canaveral made more sense instead of driving all the way to Miami, which would have been much, much further.
We would need to fly.
There's really only one cruise that fit the bill.
Yep, Utopia of the Seas, here we come. So I want to talk all about our cruise, like what went well. And so I've kind of broken it down into some key categories that we can walk through together just to, as you think about taking your family on a cruise. I had looked at videos and there were a lot of great like tours, but I wanted to know like the nitty gritty details of what's it really like chasing a 2-year-old around a cruise? Is it terrible? Are there things for them to do? I will just start off by saying I was petrified at the size of this ship. I think it's about 5,000 people. Is that including?
Right at that or more.
Okay.
It's massive.
I had this vision. I mean, truly, like we went down the night before and I was laying in bed the night before at our hotel thinking, oh my goodness, we're going to wake up and there's just going to be, it's going to be crawling with people. We're going to be in all day lines. Like it's going to be like TSA times 1,000. Mm-hmm. And somewhere I wasn't honestly like overly thrilled to go just because I was disappointed about our original trip, right? And we just hadn't thought of taking a cruise. I've got to give Royal Caribbean some props on this one. From the communication beforehand on where to park, all of those sorts of things, the ease of check-in, I thought was like perfection.
It's very, very
They give you an exact address, you pull up to a parking garage, it gives you like a number terminal kind of thing to walk through. There were parking attendants telling you where to go. It was so easy. It was not crawling with people, even though there were 5,000 people. They actually email you when you check in. I believe it's like 2 to 3 days in advance. They give you a check-in slot time. So I think that kind of helps space people out throughout the day so you're not all showing up right at 10:30. Our check-in time was at 1:30. So we had sort of a slow morning at the hotel. But when we checked in, I mean, we came in, we showed our passports, We walked in, we had our 2-year-old in the stroller, our older son was walking, we had our luggage, and they routed us through family areas. It was so easy. The one kind of hiccup we had is we had heard that you needed to drop off your luggage somewhere, and then you didn't get your luggage back until like later in the day. To me, it wasn't super clear where you would put your luggage to do that. So like, for instance, if you checked in at 10:30, your room might not be ready yet. You might not be able to go straight to your cabin or whatever they call it on the cruise. And so you would pack off leave your luggage, have a carry-on bag with like your kids' bathing suits, swimsuits, so you could go enjoy your day on the ship without having to like carry a big old suitcase around. It wasn't very clear where to do that. So we ended up getting on the ship with our luggage, but we got lucky because since we checked in later, our room was ready. So honestly, it was better. It was better that it worked out that way. But if you were getting there at 10:30, you would definitely want to find where to put your luggage, or else you'd be lugging it around.
Having never cruised before, I was thinking it was going to be more like an airport experience.
Yes.
And there are these guys out there with carts, like porters, and I thought maybe this is some sort of like additional like
charge. That's kind of what it seemed like.
Like curbside check experience. And I thought we'd hand our luggage like when we were showing our passports or something. I misunderstood, so that's kind of my fault, having never cruised before.
Yeah, but you walk into the ship and, oh my goodness, flashing lights and music. It is like party town.
A little overstimulating.
Again, I got a pit because I was like, I'm about to be on this thing for like 4 days, and I thought it was going to be at like a level 100 the whole time. It wasn't. It was truly just like really hype when everybody gets on the boat and they're like daiquiris and margaritas. Like people were like having a good time. Another funky thing, we got on and we're like, let's go to our room. Wait, where is it? Because there's not like a hotel check-in.
Yeah.
So they do, again, I've got to give Royal Caribbean some credit here. There's these people walking around with big pink t-shirts on that say, ask me anything. And we did. So we walked up and we were like, what's our room number? And he showed us on the app. You got to get the app. That's where everything is. If you want to like dine and play, that's what you need to do is get the app. And our room number was listed there. We just didn't know what it was. So it ended up being.
My question was, how do we get our room key? And he was like, it's at your room. Like it's literally like at your room.
Yes.
You just walk there.
Yes. So that made it really easy. So the room, I'll let you talk a little bit about like the room that you booked for us.
Well, I booked the very last room available
on the boat
on the entire cruise ship. Again, we booked this last minute. The room itself was king size, balconies,
Central Park
view, which means you have a balcony, but you're not looking out at the ocean. You're looking like kind of like in this interior like atrium.
It is cheaper than an ocean view. Obviously, we would have picked an ocean view, but we got what we got with 2 weeks out.
But when I booked it, I realized like on the ship floor plan, the room I booked was basically like underneath a pool and like kind of looked up at like the poolside bar. I forgot what it's called.
Lime and coconut.
Yeah, crazy coconut or something. And so leading up to the trip, it was like, are we going to be miserable? Is it going to be just like pumping music? Like
we were really. And we're not overly sensitive to noise, but just, parents out there, with 2 kids, it's like people on a cruise want to have a good time. And like it has a party reputation.
Be basically in the pool party.
In the Lime and Coconut.
Whole time here.
That was a concern. So we had the Central Park view. I was impressed. Like when we walked in, it was really clean. It felt new and fresh. I mean, was it spacious? No. It's a cruise cabin. But I was impressed by the space that we did have in a cruise. Like for it being a cruise cabin that they're just squeezed in there, I was impressed. It was pretty narrow, but decently long. What we got in kind of our family setup in the cruise cabin was we had a nice big king bed. There's kind of 2 wardrobes where you could easily like unpack your suitcase. And that's what we did because we didn't want to just have big suitcases around. So there were places to store your suitcase, which helped a lot with like having walking space around. We brought magnetic hooks. Thank you to all of those on YouTube that said that was good. That was really helpful. The walls are magnetic in a cruise, so to hang up wet bathing suits and stuff and let them dry is helpful. We had hanging toiletry bags, which helped. There's not a lot of counter space for a family of 4. So we had that. And then we also, nice big television. And then there was another little like chest of drawers with space. and then a couch and a pull-out drawer bed, and then a balcony.
And a little desk area.
And a little desk area, which was kind of like used for suitcases for us. But yeah, I guess if you're working,
but the cruise ship's only a couple years old, so it was clean, it was nice, well lit.
Yeah, and speaking of clean, like we had the same person clean our room every day, and he was so kind. I mean, we'll get to talking about the staff, but everybody was truly stellar, and like they go above and beyond for families, I think. Our sleep setup, as a mom, I'm always asking parents, like when I have friends travel somewhere, I'm like, did you do Airbnb? Where did your kids sleep? How was the sleep? And things like that. We obviously weren't dealing with jet lag on this trip, which was nice and kind of a nice change. Typically we are, so everybody was like happy with that. But we had the king bed, and I thought it would be Tyler and I in the king bed, and then our 5-year-old and 2-year-old in the bed in the drawer. But our 2-year-old normally sleeps in a crib. So I don't know why I thought I was going to get him to sleep in the drawer. The first night, I say it's a drawer, y'all, it is a bed, but like it pulls out so that you can shove it back during the day and have the floor space.
We decided not to bring a pack and play. That was a conscious decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a conscious decision because truly, I don't know where you'd put it. I mean, clearly people have babies and you're doing it, but
and then folded it up every day.
It would have been I'm glad. Now, if I had a 6-month-old, I would bring a pack and play, like obviously, but with a child that like there was nowhere he was going to go, I think we made the right call, and I liked having the floor space. So the first night, both kids slept with me. Tyler slept on the pull-out couch. The next night, I slept with our 2-year-old, and Tyler slept on the trundle bed with our 5-year-old. And honestly, he said he was really comfortable.
It was comfortable. I was happy with it.
So yeah, that ended up working really well. About the lime and the coconut, like to loop back to our noise concerns, it was quiet as a mouse.
Total non-issue.
It was totally fine. I mean, when we got on that ship and they were having like the sail away party, which if you're watching this, maybe you are a cruiser and you probably know more than we do since this is just our first cruise. The sail away party is like turn. Like it's, and not people being like sloppy, but just the music is blaring and people are out to have a good time. But like we shut our balcony doors and shut the curtains, and I would turn on like a white noise on my phone every day during nap time, and it was fine. It never bothered us.
I'd say most hotels we stay at, honestly.
Are louder.
Even though there was like a club across the way, it was silent in our cabin.
Absolutely. Well, another thing that, and I'd love for you to talk about this because honestly, I feel like you're the pickier of the two. Not picky like you won't eat food. You're appreciates good food. Yeah. So I'd love for you to talk about like our expectations of the food and what kind of food we ate and sort of the dining experience.
I think we did a good job of setting low expectations, having never cruised before. But it was honestly great.
I loved
not worth
it,
talking about. Like,
yeah.
No complaints at all. Honestly, we've stayed at a higher end resort, all inclusive resort in Cancun before, and one of our memories of that trip was the food was kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
So the food on the cruise ship was much better than that. In fact, I can't say I had like a culinary experience, but I certainly never thought like there's nothing I want to eat or this is gross or I'm sick of this. I never felt that way at all.
I loved it, y'all. I'm not the pickier like I'm not very hard to impress when it comes to food, but like I thought it was great. And so, there's all different restaurant types. Now to go back to like planning your trip, we were less than 3 weeks out. If you are like you want the really special dining experiences and things like that on this cruise, you do have to make those reservations well in advance. Like they have some like specialty restaurants that are not part of the all-inclusive like cruise package. We never ate any of those. I don't think if like you're on a budget or you just want to like eat somewhere where it's really kid-friendly, you don't need to eat any of those places.
I don't think it's worth the fuss of like trying to have a reservation somewhere and...
I mean, but some people enjoy like trying out, they have a train restaurant and stuff like that. We, wouldn't have been able to get a reservation at any of those places. That stuff gets booked up so far in advance, like there's just no way. And we were fine with that because again, we went in with low expectations, almost just like the we're happy to be here kind of vibe. Like we just showed up and wanted to have fun. But there are plenty of options if you don't do reservations. And we always felt so welcomed by the staff and like they always helped explain what the vibe was. there's a restaurant called the Windjammer that they do all meals, but it's really like the hub for breakfast, I would say, is the Windjammer. You know, you get there earlier. I can't remember exactly when it opened, but we would get there like by 8, and it wasn't typically like packed yet. By 9:30, it got really crowded. But again, to Royal Caribbean's credit, they have so many different stations and so many different areas. It's logistically laid out so well that you're never like in a long line for a pancake. Which I was expecting. Like and parents out there, y'all know, when you've got 2 kids and you're in a buffet line, it can be kind of a nightmare because you're carrying multiple plates. And so then to have to wait in a line on top of that is rough. And so Tyler and I ended up just having a system. Like he and I would go sit down behind the table. One of us would stay with the kids. The other would go get like as many plates as we could and just get like your standard, you know, pancake, eggs, omelet, that kind of thing. There were waiters walking around bringing like juice and waters to the kids. I thought the coffee was great. Again, I'm not a coffee snob, so I like gas station coffee. We did not have a drink
package. You still had coffee and juices and water, obviously.
Yeah, that's a good point. We decided not to do the drink package. We just ended up like pricing it out. You would be able to say what it cost.
Well, we're not big soda drinkers anyways, and you don't drink alcohol very much, so it just didn't really make sense if both adults have to have a drinks package.
Yes, if you're any adult in your cabin, if one has a drink package, the other has to have a drink package.
The same, yeah.
And so like if I'm normally maybe getting 1 margarita a day and I'm not drinking any soda, it doesn't make any sense. There are like Starbucks in the ship, but you're paying for Starbucks. Like that's not a part of your drink package.
Right.
So it didn't price out to make sense. Did you say what the price was? Forgive me if you did.
For a drinks package?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
I swear it was like 400 or something, or maybe 300 per person. It was steep.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you'd be able to look it up. But the food, so we did Windjammer normally for breakfast, and then we'll talk a little bit about activities. Lunch, we normally went back to Windjammer or another quick restaurant.
They had American food. They had plenty of fruit. They had, you know, if you got tired of just like chicken and burgers and stuff like that. They also had an Indian station.
Yeah.
They had so much variety.
Pizza. I mean, everything, sandwiches, charcuterie, like.
Anything you could want.
Yes.
They had, so it never got old.
Another thing I was really like pleasantly surprised about were snack offerings, because when you have kids, like I always have to pack a lot of snacks on trips because I don't want to constantly be having to stop at like a 7-Eleven or whatever to get a bag of chips or a banana. There were little cafes and areas, one in particular that was convenient kind of to our route, but
Central Park Cafe.
Yes, Central Park Cafe, exactly, very New York. So they have these like little plastic cups with covers on them with like speared watermelon, grapes, cantaloupe, honeydew. Nobody likes honeydew. I don't know why people are giving that out, but whatever. They had all sorts of fruits offerings and things like that. The staff would come over and bring our kids like Lay's and chips, and there was juice in there was coffee, and we normally would do that at least twice a day because typically your kid needs a morning snack and an afternoon snack, and that's free. Like that's part of your package. All inclusive, which I was so glad because not only was it convenient, but it was also like healthy snacks, which I thought, and they also had sandwiches.
To like going back to the buffet.
Yes.
You could pick up snacks throughout the ship.
And they would have like music outside, so we would sit and have the snack. They had sandwiches and salads and cookies and granola bars. Like I was really impressed by that actually, because kids need snacks. And we also like took some back to the room, so it wasn't like you had to sit there and eat it. Dinners, we did some at Windjammer, and then some of them we did at the main dining room, which I would say was an excellent experience.
We did the Windjammer the first night, and it was kind of like, well, I don't know if actually I want to eat here 3 meals a day.
3 times a day.
It just kind of gets like, you get bored.
I could have, but.
Well, and also, so the next night we ate at the main dining room, which is like more formal white tablecloth, which actually I enjoyed the kids a lot more than the buffet, because the buffet, you're in charge of making
You're
food
doing.
get on the
You're
plate,
kind of like you're getting up a lot.
You're the wait staff.
You're getting up a lot.
You're the wait staff when you're at a buffet. But at the more formal dining room, it was like, oh wait, like I forgot we could just order off the menu and like they'll bring it to us and they'll like clean up and like do all this stuff. And the wait staff that we had was excellent.
Oh my gosh, we loved them. We had the same guys every night.
Yeah, we had the same guys every night. They loved the kids.
They got to know the kids. They made like origami. They bring, little separate kids menus, which are great, and you get an appetizer, a main, and a dessert. Mm-hmm. And they, ice cream and cookies. And even though you only get one, they would bring both. And one of our waiters made origami out of the menu every night, like little birds that were flying. And our son was like, I'm going to keep this forever. Like, he was like so excited. As a kid, like these things, they're memorable. And it was awesome. Like, we got there at like 5:30 every night. We got to sit at the same table. It was lovely. The food was good. Again, yeah, like you're not at a Michelin star restaurant, but it was consistently good. Yeah. It was good food. But it is funny because you'll be sitting there and you're like, it's formal, but then all of a sudden, like, it'll be like, Danza Kaduro. And they're like, your waiters start dancing, and everybody in the restaurant starts taking like their white napkins and like going like this. And all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I'm cruising. Like, this is where we are. But honestly, like, I was digging it. I loved it. I thought it was funny. And our boys, they thought it was funny. Like, they were honestly kind of confused because you're normally not at a restaurant. Your waiter doesn't start doing a synchronized dance. But it was a good time, and I thought that they did a really good job.
And I'll add one other thing, which is looking around the main dining room, we realized this would be a great trip for larger families or families traveling together, because it was a total non-issue for folks to have a table of 16 people and it like be planned for them. Whereas try to take 16 people out to a restaurant at the beach, you'll know what a nightmare that is.
Yeah.
We appreciated that, if you traveled with others, like...
You could have a guaranteed table for your big family every night, or your big group of friends, or whatever. Because you could do separate things during the day, but know that, hey, we're going to have dinner at 5:30, meet here every night and kind of come together, which I feel like for a big family, that is kind of hard to come by, honestly.
Hard,
yeah, that's a great point. Let's talk about activities, and specifically, we can talk about adult stuff too, but obviously we're traveling with our kids, and these are probably parents watching this. Let's start with talking about pools, which I didn't step foot in a pool. I'm just going to be honest. I think maybe you got in one time.
No, I got in the hot tub.
You never got, okay. Yeah. So maybe we're not the right people to be talking about pools, but we saw a lot of pools.
We saw a lot of pools. Actually, I love pools. It just didn't really work for us on this boat.
And they're not like a relaxing pool setup. They're really crowded. They're not big, but there's several of them. Like there's several of them. If you're like going on a college spring break, you're gonna lounge in the pool and drink. But with kids, it's not the kind of pool that I feel like your 9 and 10-year-olds are diving for diving sticks in.
No.
That's not the vibe. Now, our 5-year-old had no business being in the pool because it was just so full of adults. Like, there was nothing fun he could do in the pool, at least in my opinion.
I agree.
Now, there was a stellar splash pad. There were 2 splash pads.
And hold on. Our youngest couldn't even get in the pool at all.
Yes, that's true. So your child, thankfully, I did read this before, and I'm glad because it wouldn't have mattered, but I think it would have taken me by surprise on the boat. If your child is not potty trained, they are not allowed in any pool on any Royal Caribbean ship, and they're only allowed in their specific splash pad.
And let me say that differently. No swim diapers allowed in pools.
Right.
That's the rule.
Yeah, no swim diapers. So your child has to be fully potty trained in order to be in a pool or in like the more fun splash pad. Why are you laughing?
Because the way you said it, it's like, well, of course nobody would want a kid who's not potty trained in a pool, but it's like, it's even with a swim diaper. That's why.
Totally. Yeah. I feel like I said that.
I don't know. I was thinking if I didn't have kids.
Did I say it as like, did I say it? Well, if somebody's not watching kids, God bless you, please like and subscribe, but like, you should watch somebody else's videos. So anyhow, we're talking like white noise machines and like kids pizza.
No swim diapers in the pool.
No swim diapers in the pool.
Even if your kid is potty trained and wearing a swim diaper, they cannot be in the pool.
Okay. Whatever. Okay, cool. I'm glad that we cleared that up. No swim diapers in the pool. Our almost 2-year-old is not, a potty training prodigy. He is still in swim diapers. And so he was allowed in his one specific splash pad, which had a little slide. It was very cute. Like, it was a well done splash pad. He didn't really like it. I'm just going to be honest. It was kind of cold. One morning it was sort of like rainy, windy. So it just made it chilly. And you know how kids are, like some days they love something, some days they hate something. I think if we were on there 6 days in a row, he'd probably like it by day 6, but it just is what it is. So that part was like kind of a bust. Our older son adored it. Like he went down a million slides, and they're like fit for his age, and we could sit and fight for a chair. I will say sometimes it was hard to find a chair depending on when you got there. There were a couple times where I was like, we got to get out of here. It was a lot of people. But it worked fine. It was something fun to do. So we spent like several times there. Other activities, if you get on the app every single day, you can see like what is happening on the boat. So whether it be a show, which you need to book months in advance, like we were not able to go to any shows, which I think was fine. Like, it's going to be okay.
We went to bed at like 7:30, so what?
Yeah, exactly. So we were like asleep before the show started, but that's fine. But like one day we went to a really fun puppet show, which was really cute. Like there were bubbles and our boys had a great time, and that was really easy. It was very well done. It was like in this whole, it's called, I think, Ocean Adventure or Adventure Ocean. It's like the kids zone area. They also have like an indoor play area kind of thing. I mean, it's not very extensive, but if you just need a time killer, we got lucky. It was on the same floor as our room. So it made it like you didn't have to go out of your way to get there. But every day you can see like, oh, there's a cupcake making class. A lot of it was geared toward older children, I would say. Like there was like a robot thing. There's arts and crafts, and like our 2-year-old can't do that. But they actually have a whole child care center built into this area. And I think your child has to be 6 months to even go on a cruise. So starting at 6 months up to like teens can go there. We did go one day. I would say like it's really well done. The issue was more with us. We picked a bad time to take our kids. It was like late afternoon. They were closing in a couple hours. The kids were kind of grumpy. Honestly, it was just raining, and so we were like, what should we do? Okay, we'll drop them off, because I just kind of wanted to try it. Neither of them were really like excited about it, but again, I don't think that's any knock on like what Royal Caribbean's doing. Like, I think it's actually
a full service.
It's excellent.
Daycare. I think you and I probably just didn't research much going into the cruise that this was even an option. It wasn't our expectation that we would be dropping our kids off to go do anything, so we didn't plan.
I think like if I were to do it again, I would be like, okay, this morning we're gonna drop them off, we're gonna go have a nice lunch or go lay by the pool for a couple hours, and I would like mentally prepare the kids and say like, oh my gosh, tomorrow you're gonna get to go this really fun thing. Whereas like, I think, with kids, like you almost need to like prep them and make it fun. Whereas they were like, okay, bye. Like it kind of just happened quickly. And they didn't have any time to really like know what they were doing. And y'all know, late afternoons, like things are going downhill. Like we're hungry for dinner. But we did try it, and I was impressed. Like I trusted them leaving my kids there, because there were like multiple staff. They take your number. Like, I mean, it's like very well done.
There's iPads involved and code words.
And they're doing activities. It's not like the kids are just sitting there staring at a screen. Like our older son, they were doing like a superhero day and like dressing up. Like it looked super fun, actually. What other like activities or anything like that?
Well, on the back of the boat, there was like a whole like merry-go-round.
Oh yes, I totally forgot about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was kind of like
and it was free, like it's included.
Rope's not the right word, but just kind of like a net climbing different levels thing that our older son really liked. They had hot dogs back there. I don't know, just the back of the boat, there was kind of some kid
and another like outdoor play area actually, which was great. And oh my gosh, how can we forget about putt-putt? Because that was probably our older son's like favorite activity. They have like, it is kind of glow in the dark, I guess, up top.
Yeah.
We were never really there when it was dark, because we were back in the room.
Yeah, we probably played putt-putt like 2 or 3 times a day.
Oh yeah. And it gets crowded. Like there were a couple times, like they do putt-putt tournaments, which God knows we're not in, but there were a couple of times like you needed to wait a little while to get a
this
club.
Was a free, you didn't pay for it. Mm-mm. There was no like, no one even worked there. It was just like you grab a club and a ball and you go do it.
We need unserious things at this phase in our life, because like we're gonna slow things down, and like we just want to be able to roll with it, or like abort an activity if it's not going well. And so putt-putt was super fun actually. And then of course the ship has pickleball, the ship has ping pong, the ship has basketball, and like There's
an ice skating rink somewhere.
Yeah, there was an ice skating.
There's a casino. I walked through it one time.
There was an ice skating rink. Like we probably saw like 10% of the ship, because you kind of just get into your routine. And we said multiple times, if your kids are teenagers, like I could see how this could be a good option, because they could kind of do their own thing. Like there were a bunch of teenage boys, which like terrify me, but they were like playing basketball or playing soccer and or doing the surf thing. And you know, they have like a
or the
surf
big water
simulator.
Slides. There's just
big
so much
water
stuff.
slides. The thing, a lot of activities that like our kids were a little too young for. But like a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old that's kind of hard to please could like feel cool and independent. So I could see why parents with teenagers, like it's a great option because the parents could still go off and have a good time too.
I'm going to segue that into, there were some like hordes of teenagers like walking around, but I'll say this, everyone on the whole boat was always in good behavior.
Totally.
We never saw anyone like over intoxicated, never.
No, honestly, I was like hoping I'd see something funny.
Yeah, like it was.
Nothing. No.
Which is great.
And I'll also say I felt like the bathrooms were pretty accessible too, you know, just from like a changing your child perspective, like us parents out there that have a child in diapers, you're like, oh my gosh, there's a blowout. Like I felt like sometimes it was a little bit of a walk, but like there was always a changing table. It was always clean. It was always available. Or like it was never like the bathrooms were packed. Like that part was easy too. You do get your steps in on the ship because it's a massive boat.
It's just huge.
So like your room might be far away. Now there's elevators everywhere. There's stairs everywhere. The elevators and signage is pretty easy to use. We never really waited a long time on an elevator. We never waited for much of anything on this trip, which came as like a pleasant surprise to me.
Going into cruising, I thought it would be like a vacation, like at the DMV.
Okay, wow.
Waiting in line for everything, but we really didn't. I was really impressed.
No, it was great. Port days. So the first day we got on, you know, we're cruising. It's a sail away party. Like we're just chilling. The second day, I think, was Nassau.
It was.
It was Nassau. So we decided not to get off. You know, I don't know if that was a mistake or not. I think some of this goes back to booking just a few weeks out. Like, I did not have it in me. We had just been canceling things to be like, what can we do in Nassau? And going back to our kids' ages, like, I think really we would have just been walking around like touristy shops. It's not like we're gonna go snorkeling. Like, there just wasn't. Anyway, so we decided to take advantage of that and kind of just stay on the boat and get our bearings, explore the boat, take advantage of it being a little less crowded. It still seemed pretty packed to me. I think a lot of people had that same idea, and that's fine.
It's only a 4-night cruise, so it's a huge ship.
Yeah,
There's plenty to
but
do.
there were definitely people coming and going too. And so we can't speak much to Nassau other than like it was kind of nice just having a day on the ship. It's like your second day to get acclimated and kind of get in your routine. Speaking of routine, every day we did pretty much like stick to the kids' nap schedule, which normally I sort of am like pretty loosey-goosey on when we travel, but it's not like our itinerary was so packed that it ever felt necessary to skip a nap, except for our Coco Cay day. We did do a nap skip. But otherwise, like every day, honestly, I was tired. Our kids were up early, as per usual. They wake up at 6:30. So by like 12:31 every day, we went back and our 5-year-old doesn't always nap, but normally like he would maybe watch TV or something or play quietly. And our 2-year-old would nap on me in the bed, and Tyler would walk around and like look at the ship by himself and just get his steps in.
Yeah, while they napped, it was like, well, I guess I'll go walk around. I looked at like the adults like solarium area, which has its own pools just for adults. I saw an art auction, which was kind of interesting to watch. I walked through the casino. I don't know, I just tried to explore the boat, and there's lots to do.
Yeah, a lot's happening when you're just laying in the bed at 2 p.m.
And it's funny too, when we would go to bed at like 8 or 9 p.m., I'm sure a lot happened after that. There's shows,
can only
there's
imagine.
Like concerts, there's like clubs, like I don't know. I guess that happens too.
Yeah, we're not if you're looking for like what's the nightlife like on Utopia of the Seas,
we didn't see it.
You found the wrong channel because we don't know. We were asleep. Okay, so then third day was sailing. You know, we did splash pad, we did putt-putt, all our usual things that we kind of talked about. And then we did Coco Cay.
We arrived at Coco Cay.
Let's talk about what Coco Cay is.
Wait, that's not the full name. It's
The Perfect Day at Coco Cay.
Yeah.
Did we do that well?
Good enough.
Yes, okay. Tyler here was trying to sleep on Coco Cay.
Yeah, I thought maybe
As
we
the
shouldn't
Gen
get off
Zers
the
say.
boat. I thought maybe, I don't know, it'd just be a big tourist trap of an island.
Yeah,
We should
he
stay
had
on the
watched
boat.
all these YouTube videos and was like, I just don't know. Like, I think we're just going to be nickel and dimed when we get to Coco Cay. And I was like, I don't know, like I started doing a little bit more research. Normally I will say Tyler is right, like a lot of the time. Like I'm gonna give you a lot of credit. He is like Mr. Research. He knows his stuff. I'm a little bit more not like that when it comes to travel. I was right on Coco Cay.
You were right.
I did.
It was great.
Yes, I
great.
did some research, and I was like, because your main concern, I think, well, I think you thought it would be a little bit more touristy, which obviously it is. We're all tourists. It's a private island. That's not the right word. I think the impression was initially that you get off this boat that you just paid for, and it's like $5 here, $50 here, $60 here. Like
you need to buy a beach chair. You need to
buy all this junk even just to exist, and like that's like an icky feeling. Like you kind of feel like you're getting swindled or something. Anyways, I think that was your concern. I don't want to speak for you, but so when I started looking, I was like, wait, no, this thing's free. This is free. This is included. I actually think, and it's very low stakes. We get off the boat. If it sucks, we'll just go back. Like, it's fine. If we walk around and we're like, okay, what? We wasted an hour and a half, whatever, you know? So we decided to try it. And we had the perfect day at Coco Cay.
We had the perfect day. We stayed all day.
All day until like it was shutting down. We closed the place down. We got up that morning, had breakfast. We got off like within an hour of being able to be let off. It's kind of a walk, like I will say.
It is.
Again, going back to Royal Caribbean, like we really are going to seem like we're like getting paid or something.
Not sponsored.
We're not at that level, obviously, but getting off the boat was so easy. They tell you like where to go and everything like that.
You get towels, like you check out towels from the boat to take with you.
That you bring back. I wish we'd had a better like beach bag that was larger to carry more things. That was kind of a miss. We just brought like a reusable grocery bag, whatever. It was, you know, we didn't use our stroller at all around the ship because I feel like, you know, my arms are getting really strong from carrying our huge 2-year-old, and it was kind of a pain. I don't wish we brought the stroller, but I will say, like, it was kind of a long walk.
It was a long walk.
And it was more of a long walk coming back because you're exhausted and everybody's skipped nap. But we went out there, super easy to get off, and like, you know, it's like there's music playing and like, it's just so funny. I was just giggling the whole time, like just taking it in stride. We went to this like little beachy cove area and it rocked. Like we saw a stingray, there were fish. The water was crystal clear.
Crystal clear and still, because it wasn't.
It was
like
a cove.
The ocean, it was like more of like.
There's no waves, which like, hello, that's like a parent's dream. I mean.
We found 2 beach chairs with an umbrella. You don't pay for them. They're included.
Awesome. There's waiters taking. Wait, were there?
Yeah, there were waiters.
Okay, I thought so. There were waiters taking your drink order. You know, there's not beach toys, so you know, shout out to my mother-in-law. She got us these awesome like collapsible. Buckets.
Yeah.
I'm losing my train of thought. Buckets, probably off Amazon or something, who knows. We use them all the time, so they pack down. We had one of those, which was great to be able to play with. And our boys had a ball, so we were there for a long time, just at the beach. Our son like made a friend who apparently to him is a lifelong friend, since he still talks about him. But
never seen him.
They had tons of life vests for children and adults, which I thought was great. Our son can swim, but it was still
important because we debated bringing floaties, and we decided not to. They had life jackets if you wanted them.
Plenty of. I mean, there was never, and they're everywhere.
Yep, different sizes.
It was super nice, different sizes, everything like that. People taking your drink orders. You know, Tyler got margaritas that you said were good. Like it was great. Yeah, I don't know. We brought sunscreen and got sunscreened up outside.
The bathrooms are super close.
Super close, super easy. I mean, it's a kind of a big island. Like if you walk around certain places, it's larger than you think. After that, we went and got lunch. Now there are, and I think this is probably what you had seen, there's multiple, like at least a couple restaurants that like have a higher, you know, fish sandwiches and things like that, I'm guessing. More like seafood vibes that you can go and pay to eat at. But they have a huge like outdoor eatery area, and it's almost like farmer's market-y kind of style. That's probably not the right word. It's like an outdoor buffet.
Outdoor buffet, like stations, and then just a ton of picnic tables.
It's probably like my least favorite food, I will say, just as far as like, you know, they had hamburgers and stuff like that. I wasn't as impressed as the food inside the boat, but it was totally fine. Like I think the boys had hot dogs.
If you think of a beach day where you have to like pack lunch and lug everything to the beach or go back to your condo or go out to a restaurant. This was like, our kids were having a blast at the beach. We went to the bathroom, and then like 15 yards later, there's like a full like buffet that's just waiting for you with paper plates. Like
Yes.
I mean, it was great with kids.
And same as on the boat, I forgot to mention this, but like there's free soft serve ice cream that you get all the time, which is like an activity in and of itself for kids.
They had that on the island.
They had it on the island. Yeah. So our boys got at least one serving. I think Banks may have gotten 2 servings of soft serve ice cream, and they do like the chocolate vanilla swirl. It's
and there was
really
like an
yummy.
iguana walking around.
Yeah, there were. I mean, look at us, cultural experience. Okay. Anyways, yeah, there were iguanas everywhere actually, because we'll get to more iguanas, but yeah, the food was totally passable, and it's also low stakes because you eat something, if you don't like it, you can go try something else because it is just a buffet. Going back to like the snacks, I mean, there were bananas, apples, oranges. Like I probably peeled 5 oranges for our boys. Like they love oranges, and it was just nice to have like a fresh, healthy snack on hand that you could throw in your bag and then peel down at the beach and like eat down there. Water, juice. I'm sure if you have a drink, well, no, your drink packages don't work on the island. Isn't that right?
No, they do. They do.
Oh, okay.
We just didn't have a drink package. So
okay, I didn't see soda, but that I'm sure they had it. Okay, cool. So your drink package works if you decided to do that. After that, I think we spent a little bit more time at the beach, but we decided to go check out the pool. And boy, was it a pool. The never-ending pool, you might say. It was huge. It just felt like it went on.
But like well-designed. Like it wasn't like just like one massive thing. It was just wound on forever with bridges and
Tyler was thriving. Like
tons of chairs and like in-pool bars.
In the pool lounge and in the pool bars. And like, I would say going back to like your kids playing in the pool, this pool had more of that vibe that like.
Well, it could be so much bigger.
It's so much bigger. And so your kid can totally like go jump off and do a cannonball and like all the typical kid activities. Our boys had a great time. But weirdly enough, like right by the pool, there was this big grassy area with iguanas. Our kids just ran and like looked at the iguanas, and there were coconuts over there, and like they were playing coconuts and trying to crack them open and just doing like kid stuff. But it was while Tyler and I were like lounging in the pool. So it actually was lovely.
It was really great.
The weather was lovely. I mean,
we had a perfect day.
We had a really good day.
And we didn't even mention there's like a splash pad, like whole
yeah, so I did go check out the splash pad. I'm glad you mentioned that. It was like intense. Like I don't think our 2-year-old would have liked it just because, you know, there's kind of a degree of splash pad. There's the ones that are just like kind of up at the bottom. And then there's one where like the bucket's literally gonna knock you to the ground. Some more so fell into the latter category. But our older son would have loved it. They had slides, like it was a whole water park that was free. There's also a water park called Thrill Water Park that you can pay to go on, which maybe if you had teenagers, like that would be your better option. But if you have a kid like 8 and under, you do not need to pay. Like and even a teenager, I think, would have plenty to do. But yeah, like there were plenty of slides. But like I think it says a lot that we didn't even need to go there. Like our kids were so content that it almost would have felt like forced to go over there, and it was kind of a far walk. But yeah, it was awesome.
And I think the island closed at 5?
5. There was also a huge pirate ship that had like dry slides, which I thought was a little bit bizarre, but whatever. And like little water blasters and water guns. Our kids had a good time on that. Little buckets and stuff like that they could play with.
Well, I mentioned the closing time to say like I wished it had stayed open until like
Tyler was like, is there a hotel on here? Like,
well, I thought, like, why can't it'd be great if we could just eat dinner on the island and go back to the ship just like for bedtime.
Yeah, that is so true. The walk back kind of felt like a death march a little bit. Like the
it's
walk
not
felt
if
tough.
you're an able-bodied adult, it's not a big deal. It's just that when you've got 2 tired,
when your kids' legs go limp,
screaming kids who have played their hearts out, and
bless their hearts,
you're carrying a bag and you're tired and you've been in the sun all day. It's just
my whole body. I had like a full body cramp. Like it was rough, the walk back. But that's anywhere. That's like I've had that same walk on the way from the train to the hotel in Tokyo or the museum in London to our hotel. Like that kind of every parent, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna make it. That's kind of what it was like. But like, again, we get up back on the boat and it's like, doop, doop, you're back in, yay. And we went back and got showered and changed and did dinner, and they kind of like pepped back up. I was really shocked our 2-year-old, like for having no nap, was like they powered through. We had an earlier bedtime that night.
And I will say that was our plan, was for him to maybe nap on you on the island.
We tried.
It never worked out.
It was too much going on. And honestly, I didn't try that hard either, because like it was one of those things where it was either going to be an hour and a half of our time trying to get him to nap, or like, let's just let it roll.
Well, I do think if we had tried to go back to the boat for a specific nap time, I don't think we would have made it.
No, I think that would be a lot, personally. Maybe if it's just adults, that would be fine, but...
Well, sure, adults can do anything, but with kids...
adults can do... Yeah, Tyler, anytime like we fly without our kids, we're like, we can do anything we want.
Just like, I can just
this
walk
is
away.
crazy. Yeah, I could just leave. Like, I don't even have to say anything. Yeah, totally. So he didn't know nap, but honestly, I'm glad because he got to like, he was living his best Coco K life. It was really fun. And then the next day we disembarked, which was kind of sad. I mean, kind of sad. Like, I don't know if I needed more time, but it wasn't like I was like dying to leave either. Like, it felt like a good amount of time.
Healthy, good. We had a great trip. No major hiccups. We had just done Coco K the day before, which was definitely our highlight.
Best day.
So it was like, okay, like I guess it's time to get off. 4 nights was good.
Yeah, I think so too. So final verdicts of this cruise in particular. Would we do it again? You know, we've kind of talked about the highs and lows and the pros. I would say they were mostly highs for me. We went in with pretty low expectations. Again, not because we thought cruises were bad or anything like that, but just based on like some of the preconceived notions around crowd and noise and party vibes. I was kind of like hesitant. And to be fair, we had this whole other trip that was like more of a cultural experience, and this was definitely a different turn than that. But it far exceeded my expectations in most categories. Now, does that mean that I want every vacation to be a cruise? No, because I love seeing the whole world with my children, and I think that's important to us. But could I see us doing it again? I think I would.
Yeah.
I think I would. Like, I mean, I've already been texting with friends. Like, I think it'd be a fun trip to do with friends because you can have your own space and not feel like you're on top of each other in a house and, well, what are we gonna do? Like, you can kind of do your own thing. You could have childcare and actually go see your friend and like spend time with them, and same with like cousins or family. So for me, I think like I would totally do it again, but I'm not like, I need to do it again next week.
No, we're definitely not like forever cruisers now, but
I think I'll cruise again.
It will happen again, yeah.
And if this isn't telling, our oldest son, who's been a lot of cool places, this is the only trip he's ever cried when we had to leave, which was like so sweet. And it just goes to show you that like you can plan what you think is the best thing in the world for your kid, but like kids just want to spend time with you and want to just like do fun kid activities. And like for him, this was like the pinnacle of his 5 years of life.
He had a great time.
Yes.
That's why we went.
Yeah. Anything you'd add, babe, to wrap us up?
No, other than to say, I think we lucked out with our room. I was impressed with how quiet it was. I was impressed with all the ship had to offer. I think if we cruised again, we'd be looking for a similar size ship or even bigger to make sure there's plenty to do.
I would maybe do a 7-nighter.
Okay. I'd consider it.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope that this was helpful. If you like our video and want to see more of our content, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Thanks so much.